So you love Harry Potter, and you love Snape, but have you heard his voice in Japanese?
いたずら完了ノックス
ポッター、なぜこんな夜中に廊下をうろついている？
無遊病で
Hey guys, Clyde here. Today's vlog is all about vegging out in Japanese. So as it currently stands, what I study every day is usually about an hour of Japanese. That's me looking at a textbook, that's me reading new kanji, that's me looking at new compounds. That's literally me taking my face and putting it straight into a textbook, trying to disseminate information from it. Today though, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the stuff I do outside of studying, the stuff that I do to relax, to chill, to unwind in Japanese. So the stuff I'm going to show you guys today is super low pressure. This is stuff that you can open in a window and put it on in the background. This isn't stuff that you have to like sit there and watch meticulously for every little clip and every little frame and try to understand, every little sentence that's being thrown at you. That's what the textbooks are for, and that's what learning environments are for. But this is the kind of stuff that you can just throw on in the background and just chill and work on Facebook or work on whatever you need to and just kind of let the Japanese flow to you. So I guess with that in mind, the first up is... I'm blanking. Oh, that's right, it's ASMR. I don't know how I forgot that. If you don't know what ASMR is, the 30-second download is it's basically a bunch of people on YouTube that are making really relaxing videos that are trying to like put people in really relaxing states. Like that's just the best way I can describe it. They do everything from talking, they do like maybe doing really relaxing sounds. A lot of people like, tapping sounds or scratching sounds or all sorts of stuff. But the great news is there's a lot of like Japanese ASMR artists or people that make ASMR content, and that all they do is just talk into the camera and they just ramble about their day. One of my personal favorite ASMR artists is a guy who goes by the channel name Urara, and Urara has this wonderful channel. I don't know if maybe I'm going to put it right here on top of my face. Maybe I'm like covering it up right now by my face, but his content is just so wonderful and it's so relaxing that I absolutely just love listening to it. Whenever I'm working on pretty much anything that's not related to Japanese, I throw up one of his videos and just let them kind of sit in the background and play while I'm working on whatever. So if you get a chance, click this and go check out his wonderful content. My gosh, he's absolutely great. So next method for chilling in Japanese is going out to all you gamers out there is actually Let's Plays. I know you're probably familiar with Let's Plays on YouTube. There's people just playing games and narrating the games as they're playing them, but there's a ton of Japanese Let's Players on YouTube. There are so many. You can literally find any single game you've ever wanted to see played, but with Japanese reactions and Japanese narration and Japanese ideas. And it's just so great to be able to just kind of have that on in the background while you're doing whatever. One of my favorite Let's Players on YouTube is a young lady that goes by the name of Strobo. And she's currently inactive, so like makes me really sad to even just kind of like bring her up. But I'll put her channel like right here. She's a Let's Player who did like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII. She's not a huge channel. She's got I think like a couple thousand subs or something, but she still makes really great content, and she narrates all of her games in the cutest, most adorable way. Like, I love seeing her reactions and hearing her reactions to things, because when I play those games, when I played Final Fantasy VIII, it's just interesting to see how a Japanese person would react to that situation. It's like, I don't know, it's funny. I can't count the number of phrases I've learned listening to Strobo on YouTube, so check her out, support her content, and leave her nice, wonderful messages telling her to come back to YouTube. We miss you, Strobo! So the third thing I use to chill out in Japanese. So maybe number one, you could say, I'm not into ASMR. You could say, number two, I'm not into video games. But number three is something that every single person on planet Earth is into. It is music. Music is something that everybody loves. You just gotta find your own flavor of music. And there is so much freaking music on YouTube in Japanese. You can find Japanese rap artists. You can find Japanese rock artists. You can find Japanese opera singers. You can find every kind of electronic artist under the planet. There is literally an endless amount of Japanese music content on YouTube, and that is one of the best ways that if you're working on something else, you can just have Japanese music on in the background. And if you let those songs get kind of stuck in your head, you'll find them, you're saying them, you're repeating them as your day is going on. So it's just kind of a great way to reinforce Japanese you're hearing, or at least start to be able to pick out more to the listening side of things. But that said, number four, my absolute favorite is gotta be movies. And that's why I opened with Snape and Harry Potter in this video. I love having movies on in the background. When I lived in America, when I was living in Texas, I had so many Japanese movies shipped over. I bought copies of Spider-Man, I bought copies of Jumanji, and literally every kind of movie, every movie from my childhood and in my my teenage years that I wanted to watch again in Japanese, I bought DVDs of, had them shipped over, and then literally would just play them constantly looping in the background, so that when I'd have, I'd be working on something for school, I would literally have friends walk in and be like, why is Snape talking in Japanese? It's just such a fun way. Because to learn, Japanese, if you love a movie enough, like if you know Harry Potter really well, or if you know Spider-Man really well, you know the dialogue of those movies. So like when Harry Potter like busts on the scene, or like, Peter, oh my god, having like a mini panic attack trying to like say Peter Parker. When Peter Parker like busts on the scene and he says like, with great power comes great responsibility. Like when you hear that line in Japanese, like, oi naru chikara ni wa oi naru sekinin ga tomonao. Like when you hear that, you know immediately what that is. Like you don't need a translation to fix that for you, because when you hear every single component of it, you're just like, bam, I know that. With great power comes great responsibility. There's so many little quips and phrases that you'll get just by hearing movies on in the background. And if you know it, then it's just like free Japanese. I think if it's like free, I guess it's not free because those DVDs are kind of expensive, but hey, it's as close you're going to get to free studying as you'll ever get. So that's it. Hopefully this video gave you some ideas of ways you can kind of just keep background noise in Japanese on. A lot of people have this idea that like they need to get a textbook, and they need to get like these tutors, and they need to get all these things to like in order for studying to take place. And a lot of the studying and a lot of the listening practice that takes place can happen right here, right now, just with the luxury of YouTube and the luxury of all that content on YouTube. So hopefully this gave you, guys, a little bit of a starting reference, and you can go out and you can find really great content. Also, I'd really like to know, how do you guys chill out in Japanese? What are your favorite artists? What are your favorite bands? What are your favorite movies? What are your favorite tips and tricks? I'm always looking for new ways to just kind of have it on in the background, so please share any of your advice with me. I'm looking forward to hear you. Can't wait to see you on the next vlog. My next weekly weekend video is coming out in a couple of days. I'm still working hard on the editing on that. Look forward to it. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much. See you guys in the next weekly weekend.